Let's talk about the Bills and the Colts. Well, who do you have here? What are your thoughts on the matchup itself?
I have to say, if there was a game that was hard to pick, not only because of the personnel and the talent on the field, but also just because of the respective state of the franchises, it would be this one. It would be this one. I'm interested to see what Indianapolis's game plan is out of the gate. I'm interested to see if they actually try to let Philip Rivers loose, or if they go more to a tempo controlling, hand it to the back type approach. To answer your question, though, who do I have winning? I think the Bills are just too strong. I think the Bills are just too strong.
I kind of want to disagree with you,
Tell
but I
me
think
you got the Bills too.
I will agree with you. I just don't believe in Philip Rivers. That guy's. I think if I believe whatever I believe in Tom Brady, cut that by at least 80%. That's how much I believe in Philip Rivers. So if I have Tom Brady losing to Washington, you can clearly see that I'm not gonna pick Colts to freaking beat the Bills, the second best team in the AFC. The guys have been. You guys put a 50 plus in the last game, man. 50 plus on my end. That's absolutely crazy. The team that was fighting for their playoff lives, they put up 56 on them. Bills are absolutely on a roll. I think their play
that
callers absolutely on a roll, and undoubtedly why he's getting all those head coaching gigs that potentially he could probably get, and he probably will get something. There's quite a few openings in the NFL right now.
there's a couple of vacancies. To be honest, though, I think that mm, I think one of them at least is going to be sewn up sometime soon. I think the Jacksonville job, they've already identified their ideal candidate. I think
Yeah,
they've been talking with Urban Meyer for a little while now. Obviously, knowing that they have the number one overall pick in hand, and I think we can all agree who they're going to pick. Um,
so
but to
let's
get
start.
back to to get back to tomorrow and the game between the Bills and the Colts, the Bills offense is just too high powered. The Bills
Yeah.
offense has been playing out of their mind lately. Josh Allen looks like a top three QB in the
See,
league.
that would literally be my only question mark. As
Josh
much as I
Allen.
don't believe in Philip Rivers, Josh Allen's never been in the playoffs. He's never been in the playoffs.
Oh, yes, he has. He played last year against the Houston Texans.
Oh,
And remember,
oh, right, right.
it
Actually, you know what? That's actually what. Yeah.
it didn't go well.
Yes.
It didn't go well.
No, it didn't. No.
They blew a
Okay, I
16
do
nothing
remember.
lead.
Okay, yeah, I completely forgot about his last year
Josh
performance.
Allen,
Yeah, yeah. Forget about that. Yeah, they did. You're right. Houston.
that
Yeah.
was more the Deshaun Watson show, especially late in the game. He was the one making plays, scrambling about, willing his team back. And Josh Allen, I hate to say it, but I don't want to say he
He's
froze under
improved.
the pressure, but he didn't come up big when his team needed to the most. You know, a
He
16
does. He
point
does. He
advantage.
does have Stephon Diggs, man. Quite possibly, I would say the best wide receiver this year. Like quite possibly the
Wow.
top. Stephon Diggs is something else, man. The
Wow.
guy's always open. Always open.
Wow. Wow. I'm just in
Always.
shock. I'm just in shock because a couple of years ago, what I was hearing from my boy Bill over here was Emmanuel Sanders is a much better receiver than Stephon Diggs. And I was the one looking at boy suspect saying, yo, Stephon Diggs, that man is a baller. Obviously the trade to Buffalo completely changed his status as a number one receiver. When you go to playing with Adam Thielen to being the unquestioned number one and the leading receiver on a high-powered passing team, it's obviously going to change your production. There's no question about it. But Stephon Diggs is a very skilled player. I mean, you look at his route deception off of the line, and it's so hard to tell what route this guy's running. He's obviously got blazing speed. He's got amazing hands, and he's just a big play threat anywhere that you put him on the field, on the outside, on the inside. he's a big time baller, and I think if there is a recipe or blueprint to follow to how to get your young QB to take the next step, I think the Bills played it perfectly with the acquisition of Stephon Diggs, and that just completely catapulted Josh Allen into a different category. Like I said, this year he's played like a top 3 QB in the league. Their offense has been on fire. I think the last time they lost back-to-back games was in October when they lost to the Chiefs and the
Well,
Titans.
last game they lost was that Hail Mary by
The Hail Murray,
Kyler.
the
Yeah,
Hail
Hail Murray.
Murray. And if you
Exactly.
actually remember in that game before the Cardinals had a chance to win it, it was Josh Allen and the Bills offense that drove down the field
Hmm.
late in the game and put up a touchdown that presumably we all thought was going to give them the win until obviously Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins pulled out the spectacular. That
What's your score for that?
yeah,
Who are you taking for
that
that?
Bills Colts game. My only worry is exactly what you brought up, and it's that despite how great that the offense has looked as of late, how great of a year they've had, they as in Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs at their respective positions, even Cole Beasley, who just made the second team All Pro. I think my concern is whether or not Josh Allen, now that they've gone 13-3, now that they've won the division, now that people have actual expectations of them, real expectations of them, will he succumb to that pressure when or if things don't necessarily go their way this game?
Hmm.
What if they find themselves in a deficit? Is he going to have the mental strength to rally the troops and take his play to the next step, level up his play?
Do you really think the
Because we
Bills
saw
are
what
going to be
happened
down
last
to the
year, even
Colts?
though
The Colts. Philip
that
Rivers, that turnover
that's
machine
why I'm
out here.
interested in seeing what Indianapolis's game plan is. That's why I'm interested if Indianapolis's game plan is to slow the tempo, run the ball, try to keep the Bills' hot offense off the field, then it might become a little bit more difficult for them to get in rhythm. It might become a little bit more difficult to really get going on offense. And then it becomes kind of an open game. And if you have Philip Rivers make just enough plays to put some points on the board, all of a sudden the perspective completely changes. With that being said, though, I think if Buffalo continues their big play scoring,
Hmm.
they might need like 25 minutes of time of possession
I agree.
and
I
still put
agree.
up like 30.
Absolutely. So what's the score?
So I got Buffalo. I think I was gonna say best case scenario. I actually think Buffalo blows out the Colts. Best case scenario.
Sure. What's the score, man?
For my money, I think this might actually be ah. For my money, I actually have Buffalo winning by a sizable margin, not entirely a blowout, but I
Okay.
think they definitely cover the 6.5 points. They definitely cover the spread. So I have Buffalo winning 28.
28. Okay. Put a 50 last week.
I have Buffalo winning 28-13.
28-13. Not much of a blowout. You're only giving them
28 to
28 points.
13.
They just doubled that last week, man. You're only giving them 28 points.
I want to give them more, but I want to give them more, but I'm tapering my expectations. I'm not expecting them. Playoff football is a completely different ball game than regular season football. And even though they literally just put up over 50 points on the best scoring defense in the league, and Indianapolis is nowhere near that, I think that the Bills, at least for this first game, they'll struggle relative to their offensive production. They'll struggle to put up points again in their first playoff game. So I'm gonna go 28-13. I don't think they're gonna put up 40 plus.
Okay. I don't think they're going to get particularly 40 plus, but I think in the 30s. So I could see them put up,
So you
30,
you're
I don't know,
seeing this as a
34.
high scoring game on their end.
Yeah, like 34
Wow,
to maybe like I think Indianapolis is going to score more than, what do you say, 14? I think they're going to go around,
13. You believe in that offense, huh?
I'd say around 17 at least. Philip Rivers will throw a touchdown or two at the end, especially. So I'll go with, yeah, 34-17.
34-17 he's got. I don't know. I watching that Jacksonville Indianapolis game last week. That wasn't very pretty. There was a moment in the game where the one-win Jacksonville Jaguars were actually in the game, and to look that pedestrian against that team is kind of concerning. Like I said, playoff football I think is a completely different beast than regular season football, and that's why I actually think the game will be Buffalo will have a lower scoring game than most people expect. But
I'm
same
just
with
banking. I'm
Indianapolis. I
just
just don't believe in that Indianapolis defense, especially if their game plan is to come out and keep the ball away from Josh Allen. And I don't think that'll translate to a lot of points.
I think you mean offense, but yeah.
Bills
So
defense has been playing.
they're in the middle of the pack. I think they're about 16th ranked defense right now, around 15, 16, something around there. Middle of the pack. Nothing too special.
But the Bills defense has actually, the Bills defense has actually played a lot better though since I think halfway point of the season. So week 8, I think from
Yeah,
like
I
week 8
agree.
on, they're ranked top 10.
Yeah, I think right around that, the Hail Murray, right after that, that's kind of corrected their defense. Gotten better and better.
I also think
All right.
Buffalo. I also think Buffalo comes in with a swagger after having won the division, after having won 13 games, after finally getting the Bill Belichick lean years gives them another layer of fortitude, gives them another layer of experience. He's not going to be one of those coaches to number one take wins for granted, number two
Mhm.
to let his foot off the gas pedal. So I think if they actually have a chance, they'll put up as many points as they possibly can. But I just think that again, this being kind of the first playoff game and having the expectations on their shoulders, being at home with no fans, I think they go 28.
28. Sure. Sure. All right. So at least we have the same team winning in this one. So we both got Buffalo by a sizable margin.
You sure you're not more and more convinced on Indianapolis the more we talk
I
about it?
think it went the other way this time. I was less and less convinced. Jonathan Taylor is a pretty good player, man. But we'll see how that goes.
Jonathan Taylor has actually been a very pleasant surprise. I mean, he was good in college, but I think a lot of people were worried about his 4 years of production there and how much wear and tear he already had on his body.
Yeah.
Even it's like a first year player, but he's held up well. I think it actually adds an intriguing dimension to their offense. Obviously, their stable
Mhm.
of running backs,
Yeah,
but
they got a good bunch. Yeah.
they got a nice rotation. They got a nice
Yeah.
rotation. Naheem Hines is kind of an overlooked player
A
in
good
there, and
third down
that's
back. Yeah. He's a
yeah.
good third down back. Yeah.
But it's just I don't think it's going to be enough to keep pace with the Bills' offense,
All
especially
right.
when it's so hard to
So
get them off the field.